Welcome to another video, and in this video we will learn about client-side storage that you can have in your browser end. These could store multiple data, but be careful while storing some sensitive data because it could be leaked through multiple ways like cross-site scripting and all that. But again, let's say you have some specific data based on user customization, or maybe anything which is not that confidential, preferences, etc., or whatever happens when a session is running up. All those things you can always use client-side storage, which makes it really handy. Otherwise you'll have to store everything on the server side, which is kind of tricky at times. So in this specific tutorial we will see two types of storage. There is also third type of storage, which is cookies, which is also handy, but we will have a different video to address that. So here we will talk about session storage and local storage and understand how these two work. Okay, so the main difference between session and local storage is that local storage persists. It will persist even when the browser is closed. And you can store, if I want to give you an example, let's say you have a website where user has options to have dark or light theme. Again, this could also be stored in cookie, but right now just forget everything about cookie. So when you have these kind of preferences, you don't want to reload. And let's say you have progressive web application like a chat application where you have basics like, let's say, most recent 5 chats always loaded irrespective of the internet connection or something related to that sort. So those kind of data you can store in the local storage. You also get a more storage capacity in local storage compared to session storage. Okay, so these data persist within your browser. No matter when I close it and reopen it, it will still persist. Okay, so if I give you an example, let's say I just add a key value. Let's say I add hello web. So this is my storage key name. You always have to store it in a string format. If you have an object like a JSON data, you can stringify it. Like let's say if I have something like JSON.stringify, and let's say I have an array of numbers. So I'll just use 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think I don't need the code. So let me just stringify it directly. So this is how it will be storing it, because that's how it's designed to. So it's always make sure to store it in a stringified format. Now what happens is you can see all these storage into your application tab. So I think it is already here. So you will see storage there, you will see local storage, then session storage, and then IndexedDB, web SQL, cookies, and etc. There's a lot of things, but majorly you will be operating mostly in these two, local and session storage, when storing this. And depending, of course, there could be use cases for these as well. Cookies have a very common use case. The advantage of cookies is that it gets sent through your HTTP headers whenever your browser makes a request. But again, we are not going to dive much into cookies right now. So if you see currently I have this local host, it's all empty, and if I want to add a storage, you will see that it just gets added. Now no matter what happens, even if I refresh my browser, or let's say I just copy this and open in a new tab, and if I go there, go to local storage, you will see that it's still appearing. Okay, so this won't go anywhere. This will persist for a long time unless the user manually clears the browser cache, or there is any specific setting set up in the browser to clear these in regular intervals. It is going to stay. Okay, so these data points which you want to persist, no matter how many times user visits, you want to persist it, those you can set up in the local storage. Now these are very straightforward. JavaScript provides, web JavaScript provides native API. So if I show you this very straightforward way to store and retrieve item. So here you can see that I have created two functions, add to local storage and add to session storage. Both of these, local storage.setItem gives you the item, and let's say you want to get that. So let's create a function get from local storage, which will take an argument key, and it will try to find the value. So result equal to local storage dot set not set, get item, and then you'll pass in the key, and then let's have the show message to show the result, and let's add some string interpolation so that we could have a better display message. Value of key from local storage is, and let's say for some reason if we don't find any value, we will return not found. Okay, so this is the get from local storage, and let's add one more button, get from local storage. This will trigger this function. Okay, and keys added. So that's as simple as adding getting value from local storage. So let's say currently, since I've set this hello, so if I put in this key hello and get from local storage, and it says value of object. Let me see, why is it okay? I think because I missed to pass in I think I don't need to pass key explicitly because it's anyways getting set. So let me just remove it, and we don't need this guy. We can just keep it like this. And so let me do it again. So get from local storage. So the value of hello from local storage is web, and let me make it even more precise. So this will help us identify, because there is another string also. So now you can see that value of hello from local storage is web. And let's say if I do some mistyping and add something else, so it says not found. Okay, so this is how local storage works. No matter how many times I refresh it, I clear the browser, this particular thing will persist unless user clears it up, or there's a browser setting going on which clears it up at regular intervals. Okay, so that is number one. Now what is session storage? Session storage starts as long as you reach this point. Okay, as long as you land to the landing page. Now the session storage has started, okay? And once you close the browser or you refresh it, whatever you do, it will wipe up your storage, okay? So that's how session storage works. So let's say we add, if I show you session storage right now, we have it empty, okay? Okay, so let's add these values. So this time I'm going to add in session storage, and it says done adding in session storage. Now, as per what I explained, just try to figure out what will happen if I reload the page. Would this value be persisting or would it disappear? Just have a thought around it, because there is one more important concept that we will learn in this process, okay? So, I mean, you might have guessed that because session storage starts when we start the browser session, when we land to the landing page, and ends right after that. So this value should have gone away if I refresh the page, okay? But watch what happens. So if I go and refresh this, and if I come back to session storage, you see that this is persisting. And this might confuse you because, again, once the session is over, it should, get rid of it. So why this is persisting, right? To answer that question, let's try to open the same thing into a new tab. So let me open it here. And this time you will see that this session is missing here, although it is here. If I reload this page, it still persists. So you can see that even if I go back and come here, it is persisting. However, here it's not there. So does that mean that you have to always open it in a new tab to do so? We can say kind of yes. And the reason is that to optimize the performance, the browser caches your requests, okay? So if you go to this page and let's say you are having multiple, like let's say you move on to a different page, those requests, those pages are cached so that you don't have to, reload everything from scratch. And this is a browser behavior. However, when I go to a new tab, since it's totally new thing for browsers, so the caching mechanism, the way it works is for that tab only. So now it's gone away, okay? So that is how it works, and that is why you see the session storage here as well. And we will see more examples on this. So here you can see it disappeared. However, if I go to the local storage and see the values, you will see that the value is still existing, okay? So that is the main difference between session storage and local storage. Both of these allow you to, have the JavaScript APIs and do things in very similar way. But once you are done with the session, the values will disappear, okay? And now let's see one more example to understand session storage better. And let me clear, you can go to storage and click on clear site data. This will clear almost everything that was there, okay? Now see, I have this application, okay? Now if I go to google.com and then if I go to new page, that new page is the same page that I showed you, okay? So what I'll do is I'll go to new page, I'll put a session variable which is, let's say, hello web. Now see that this has been added to the session, okay? Now if I go back, go to google.com, it redirects me to the Google, and here it has its own session variables that we are not concerned about. Now if I go back, and if I go to the session variable, you will see that it's still appearing here, okay? And even if I go to Google again, and let's say if I refresh this page, and now there is no session, again, all these variables are specific to the domain or the route that you load in, okay? Google.com will, it's not like I can access my local storage here. Like let's say if I clear all of this and local storage.get item, and if I try to do hello, which I stored in my web application that I showed you, localhost, it won't show up. But if I do the same command here, it will show up. It is not showing up because currently we have not set it up. So let me do this, hello web, add to local storage. So it's appearing up. Now let's go to Google, clear this up. So you can see that it's not available in the google.com, okay? Anyways, coming back. Now the thing is that you saw that session variable is still available here, right? And the reason is same. Since the browser has cached this page for now, unless I don't close the browser or open everything in new tab, it will keep on having this variable. Here it is, okay? Here as it is, okay? So that is the concept of, local storage and session storage. I hope you got the complete idea. Now let's discuss the use cases. When you want to store something which is critical and which should exist within that particular session, it should not, be persisted after that. Of course, go for session storage. When you have small amount of data, go for session storage. And when you have a lot of things, when you want to persist the storage preferences to show users different type of, details and everything, in that case you can go with local storage or cookies. One good thing about cookies is that it automatically gets attached when the browser sends a request to any server, so then you can reuse those cookies. But again, cookies are not as straightforward as local storage and session storage. Cookies have their own methods, like you have to specify the domain, you have to specify the path, you have to specify, if you don't specify, then also it's fine, it will have some default values. So there are some default values and that's how it works, but we will have a different video for that. And again, session storage, you can configure session storage to have security and all that stuff here. So there's a lot of things that you can do with session storage, but this was a brief about how these two things work. I hope this video was informative for you. In case if you have any questions or queries, feel free to add in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Thank you very much.